Yeah, okay. So let's go team viewer. So the other thing that I'll do is cause we'll be recording this session, so I'll put things in mute. And then what we'll do is you can unmute it if you have any questions or if you want to answer one of my questions or anything like that. So if you look in the chat window, you see an ID and you see a password now. So that's the
Okay.
TeamViewer ID and the password to connect to the server that we're using today. Yep, you can see Matthew's connected, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
Then we'll be waiting for Taiwo to
Uh,
connect. Mm, 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 mm,
what do you mean?
No problems. Oh, let me see. Did I just get disconnected? I just disconnected myself. No, not that one. Ah, okay. Mm-mm. So let's see. So you can see the screen, right? You can see. Oh, okay. Taiwo's connected also.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll mute. I'll put Fumes on mute. Then you can unmute yourself if you've got any questions. So this is the topology that I'll be using today. Um, we'll be getting right into it. We've got no times to waste. So let's go. Okay, here we go. So here we go. So here's the topology that we'll be using today. We'll be discussing Active Directory backup and restore. Um, let's make this smaller. So yeah, so we got a small screen. Close this, close this. There we go. So here's the topology we're using today. So we've got two sites in this topology. We've got site one, which is like the London site. So all the servers are named Lon, the server version that they have. So Lon Windows 2003 how to, Lon Windows 2008 how to, Lon Windows 2012 how to, and then we have a client, and we have and domains. We have adatum.com here. We have a child domain here called vo.adatum.com, and we have a router, a London router, and we have a View router here. And yeah, and then they're both connected to the internet or simulated internet. Hey, hello, Zoe, how you doing? Okay, so basics of Active Directory backup and restore. So what's like? Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, Zoe. Let me pass that to you. So what's your current understanding of Active Directory backup and restore? Matt, will you go first? You can unmute yourself. So you can unmute yourself, Matt. Yep.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Like just backing up itself
Your
and then
your current
if
experience, yeah,
anything ever happens?
your understanding of it, your experience of it, like how would you rate your current understanding and experience of Active Directory backup and restore?
I've never actually done it really before.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Taiwo? Like your current understanding of Active Directory backup and restore?
Uh, hold up. Am I being? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can hear you very
Oh,
clearly. Yeah. You can switch on the heater. The heater.
Active Directory. I mean, I know it's a directory service which Microsoft developed for their domain and all this stuff. But in terms of backup, I've always backed up mostly the domain controller.
Mm,
Um, but doing a restore
yeah,
is not something I've done before.
yeah,
Something I'm quite interested in.
yeah. Okay, nice one. And Zoe, what about you? What's your current understanding and experience of Active Directory backup and restore?
Uh, I have zero experience to be honest. I've just I mean, I know basics about like little bit about Active Directory, but I have no experience in this. Just here to like see how it works out really.
Yeah. Okay. So to start with, like I know a lot of people like a bit because it's like one of those topics that we've heard a little about that it's a bit complicated. And actually it is true that it could be complicated, but it's not complicated. But it could be complicated. So let me start by saying this. Active Directory backup and restore. So we'll be discussing the fundamentals today. So we'll just be focusing on the basics today. Um, there's probability that we could have more sessions than this, but for now, these are like the main ones. So, yeah, okay. So Active Directory backup and restore. Yeah, sorry, I've got Brenda. Sorry, I got someone disturbing it here. Okay, so yeah, this one. Thank you. You can switch on the eating, right? No problems. Sorry, don't mind Brenda. Yeah. Okay. So Active Directory and restore actually it's very simple. It's very simple. And I'll say it's very simple if you have a single domain controller in your infrastructure. So it's very simple, provided you have just one single domain controller in your infrastructure. But the more you go up, which I mean, this is like really rare today that you have an infrastructure where you have just one single Active Directory domain controller in that whole infrastructure. So if it's just one, I mean, you accidentally delete an object, the schema gets corrupted, the Active Directory failed. All you need to do we'll go through some stages today. You can either, restore from backup, or if you just accidentally delete an object, you can take it down for a little bit, recover the object. So you can do all that. I mean, and that's very, very simple and straightforward because we'll do that today. That's if you have just one single domain controller, it's very simple and straightforward. So it starts to get complicated when you have a multi-site, multi-DC infrastructure. That's where it starts to get complicated. Think of this situation, and I'll show you just a bit of the situation before we get into it mainly. Think of this situation. You have a domain controller here. You have another domain controller here. This one is in the London site, like we're doing today. This one is in the London site. This one is in the Brazil site. So we have the London site, the Brazil site. There's an object here called, let's say, Matt. There's a user object there called Matt. And because of the way Active Directory works, Active Directory is a multi-master directory service. What that means is any domain controller can replicate to another. So I create an object here called Matt, and this object called Matt will replicate to this domain controller in Brazil. And after a few minutes, we'll have an object called Matt on the domain controller in Brazil. So we come on the domain controller in Brazil, we create a user called Taiwo, and within a few minutes, it's going to replicate over to the domain controller in London and get Taiwo. Now, this is like a really, really good thing about Active Directory, right? Because this can be your friend. So in a situation where this domain controller, if this one fails, well, you have nothing to worry about. You've got everything over here, in the Brazil site. So that can be your good friend, but it can also be your enemy. Because think of this situation when an error happens, something happens, and all the users say are deleted. What do you think will happen? Matt, what do you think will happen in that situation? So all the objects are deleted. What will happen?
It should replicate back over from the Brazil unless it will delete itself.
Exactly. So that could be your good friend, but it could also be your enemy, which is why Active Directory backup and restore could get complicated in a multi-site, multi-DC um, scenario. Cause of replication. Cause in that kind of situation, you say, let's say, okay, let's go back. Let's say the only person that was deleted here is not Taiwan Matt. Let's say just Matt was deleted. So the Matt user account was deleted here. Yep. And um, Matt user account. I'm just using this. This is not as if this is actually the way it works, but Matt user account was deleted there or was accidentally deleted there. So what happens is I come here and I say I create a user here called Matt, or I restore the user back. And because of the way Active Directory replication works, it uses an update sequence number, which we'll get to in details later. So you delete the user here called Matt, sorry, or you recover the user here called Matt from backup. What it's going to do is that it's going to restore it back to the state that it was when you took the backup. And maybe it has an update sequence number of 10 then. Or maybe, let's say, let's not say 10. Let's say this domain controller, this is just an illustration of just to show you the reason why. Let's say this domain controller at that time had a sequence number of 10. And this one had a sequence number of, let's say, 15. So what happens is you restore this one back to backup. This one is like, now I'm 10. This guy is like, you've got old information. The math guy that you have is actually been deleted. So what this one will do is that it will replicate back what you just restored and wipe it off again. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that clear, Matt?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's clear.
that's where it could get complicated because if you're not careful, you can come and restore this guy here, and this guy will go, no, you got all the information. Math has been deleted, and then you go where it replicates back, and it's like, boom, everything is gone again. And then you're like, okay, what do I do in that kind of a situation? So that's why it could get complicated in a domain, multi-site environment. But to begin with, before we can understand Active Directory backup and restore properly, the first thing we need to understand is how objects are handled in Active Directory. So let's put it this way, how objects are handled in Active Directory. Now, objects, every object in AD must have a unique identifier to identify them. So that's like the first thing. So every object in AD must have a unique identifier. So this is like laying the foundation of how exactly it works. So what does that mean? To you as a user, you come here, you create a user called Matt. Now it is you that you're seeing user Matt. The system is not seeing user Matt. The system is seeing a unique identifier, and that is what the system is using to identify this user here called Matt. So in a situation that I come here and I delete and I mistakenly delete the user here called Matt, and I'm like, oh, I've deleted this user called Matt. Oh, well, that's simple. I'll just create another user called Matt. As far as the domain controller is concerned, you've created a completely brand new object. So let's see something. So let's go on. So again, if you remember our topology again, so we have a 2003 server, a 2008 server, a 2012 server on this site, and this is a child domain. So let's go to the 2003 server, just so we start somewhere today. So this one, I was actually practicing some labs today, and I messed up the schema of this domain controller. And I had to do a quick backup and restore just before we started, like just few minutes. So actually, this is the first time I'm logging back into it after restoring it because I messed up the schema while doing the practice and test. Okay, So let's go back to Active Directory users and computers, and let's see what we have. So here in IT, we have a user here called whose username is Acon. So let's do this. Let's go to my computer, the C drive, and let's create a new folder, and let's call this uh, let's see, important docs. So we have important documents that we want to share, and let's go and do a sharing. So share this folder, call it important docs. Permission, we don't want everyone. The only people that we want to have access to this is the guy called Acon. So we want Acon to have access to this. Or actually, let's not use Acon. Let's use J Evans. I think that would be better. So let's use J Evans. So cancel, let's remove Acon. Let's go add want J Evans to have access to this. I would say we want J Evans to have full control, apply security. Let's remove everyone else. Actually. Yeah. So let's remove everyone else. And let's add the user here called J Evans. Say, well, J Evans, we want you to have full control. And let's apply this. So J Evans has full control over this document. Okay. Yeah.
So
So
you're not logged in as admin.
am I not? No, I am. At least I should be. Administrator. Yeah, I am. I should be. Okay. I see why. You know what just
Your
happened?
password.
Yeah. No, I just locked myself out.
Oh, okay, that's true. You
I
put
think
yourself out.
because I did. Yeah. So, okay. Let's. Oh, what happened? Okay. Let's remove this. Let's go back. Let's add administrator, and let's add J Evans also. J Evans. Let's give them both full control over this folder. And let's apply that. But not created at this time. What does that even mean? Okay, yeah, let's keep that off. Let's just go back to this one that I created earlier. Let's go permissions, remove. Let's go ahead, administrator, J events, full control, hopefully. Okay, that seems to be okay. Yeah, security. Let's add J Evans. So J Evans has full control, and the administrator has full control over this shared folder. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our topology. We have a client here. So let's go to that client, learn client one. Where are you? It's probably switched off. So let's go switch learn client one on. And once it comes on, what we'll do is we'll log in to this as J Evans, and we'll try to access, the share that we just gave him access to. So back to the board, why this is coming on. So we said Active Directory uses a unique identifier to identify that object. Does anyone know what that unique identifier is? Taiwo, what do you think?
Is it the seed?
Taiwo says the seed. Do you agree, Zoe? The unique identifier that Active Directory
Yeah, I think it's yeah.
Yeah, so Zoe agrees. What about Matt? What do you think? The unique identifier that AD uses to identify
The SID's the
seed.
same really. Just a string of numbers or something that it recognises back end.
Yeah. So do you think it's called the seed? The seed stands for the security identifier.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, it's not. So it's not the seed. So AD doesn't use the seed. So because it uses the seed for access control list, but it doesn't use the seed to uniquely identify a user. Instead, it uses something called the GUID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is the global unique identifier. Let's see where this is. Is our client back on? Okay, client is back on. Let's log in as J Evans. J Evans. And while it's logging in, we'll carry on to look for, let's just make sure it accepted the password. Okay, yeah, it's accepted the password. So let's go to this one. No, not this one. Let's go to our server 2012, sorry, 2008 server in this domain. So this one. And so if I want to, yeah, I already have it open. So this tool called add CLT, which we can use to browse the Active Directory database. So I can browse to it, go down, see our J Evans guy here, go under properties, and I can see all the properties or attributes of this object J Evans. And part of that is if I go objects, I'll see something here called object GUID, global unique identifier, this one. So what we'll do is let's just go close, don't save. Let's go Notepad. So we have our objects J Evans. Yeah. So J Evans properties is got a GUID. Let's copy the GUID. Let's say GUID of J Evans is this. That's the GUID. So we have it saved somewhere. Cancel. Okay, so let's go back to Learn Client 1 if it's back on. No. Okay, so Active Directory uses the global unique identifier to uniquely identify every user. The reason why seed is also uniquely different, but seed can change. Does anyone know the reason why the seed will change? We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But the seed can change, but this one never changes. So for all the lifetime of that object, the GUID will always remain the same. So it uses that to identify the object. So let's see if this one is back now. Okay, yeah, we're back now. So let's go access our share that this guy has access to. So let's go learn win2k3 how to. Yeah, and we have this share here. And J Evans has access, he can come here and create his own folder here. J Evans. So J Evans has access, right? Everything is okay, everything looking good. And then let's sign out of this. So what happens in Haiti if I go back to my domain controller, the 2008 one, or let's go back to 2003 one, and let's look for our user J Evans, and I go delete. Again, we have 3 domain controllers in this domain, right?
David, just quick question. So you are
Yeah.
trying to replicate in between 2003 and 2008, right?
Yeah.
The Active Directory records.
Yeah, so we have 2003, 2008, 2012, and the reason, you see the reason very soon when we start doing our restore.
Okay.
Because the method I use to restore depends on what domain functional level or forest functional level you are at. So that's the reason why I've got mixed. So at the moment, we're currently on 2003 functional level. So are you sure you want to delete this object? So look at this actually. I've got Wireshark going on this DC. So look at this. So let's go. It says, do you want to delete this object? I go, yeah, I want to delete J Evans. J Evans is gone. Now look at Wireshark. Look at what happened. In a few more seconds or minutes, there'll be loads of information that will come through now. Still not coming through. Yeah, there we go. Did you see like all those information I just came at once? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, loads of information. And look at this. You can see DS replica sync request, right? So basically, yeah, we can go through this one, but that would probably be for another time. They did a quick TCP handshake. Yeah, so once they finish their TCP handshake, 10.1.1.1, which is server server 2008, or server, this one is the server 2003. It basically tells this one, hey, I have some changes. I have some changes. If you look down in the package, like, hey, I've got some changes. It was like, yeah, let's authenticate with one another. So they authenticate, they do a mutual authentication using Kerberos. So after they finish their authentication, so Active Directory replication is a pull request, it's not a push. So the one that is requesting the replication now sends a request to say, hey, can you send me the updates that you have? And this one says, yeah, sure, you can have the update. So now if we go back to our 2008 server now, where is it? Yeah, there we go, 2008 server. And let's go to the IT one. Let's go refresh. Yeah, J Evans is gone now. So now we've deleted J Evans. And I'm like, okay, I just deleted this guy J Evans here. I'm like, yeah, that's not a problem. All I need to do is look for the script that I used when I created J Evans. So if I go back to this machine here, go back to the desktop. So I use this script here. So let's open it. And let's look for Evans. Yeah, here we go. Let's J Evans. And this is the script that was used to create this J Evans guy. So DS had J Evans. So it has exactly the same properties. This was the script that created this guy. So everything is in there. It's got exactly the same properties, exactly the same attribute and all that. So let's go back and say paste and go. Let's go. Oh, sorry, made a mistake and added an extra. I missed the D at the beginning. So it's supposed to be DS add. And let's go DS add and go enter. Now we've got G Evans back because we just created him again using the same script that we used to create him just a few minutes ago. So G Evans is back. But look at this. Now let's go back to cd add cedit or add cedit.msc. Yeah, and let's expand IT. We got J Evans here. And then if I right click this and go to properties of J Evans and I go to his GUID. Let's see what his GUID is. Let's see, copy. Okay, I have it on the other server. Let's go back to the other server. Let's see if it's replicated. Yeah, it's replicated. Okay, good one. At the edit, let's refresh it first. And then let's look for J Evans again. And properties. Objects GUID. Look at this. So that's completely different, right? So even though I have the exact same user with the exact same properties, to me, I'm like, yeah, the guy is back. But Active Directory is like, no, we have a brand new user. And you know what has happened? Look at this is what has happened. If I go back to my C drive and let's look at our share. And let's go under properties, under security. Look at this. It's like I have absolutely no idea who this guy is. He doesn't exist on the directory anymore. You see? So so that's like one of the things that makes Active Directory backup and restore look so complicated, because now we have the exact same user with the exact same details and all that, but Active Directory is like, I'm recognizing you as someone else. And if this guy goes to try to log in to his account, so let's go back to our long client one and log into this, you know what will happen? And say J Evans and say the password is, yeah, let's enter the password. Basically, it's going to create a brand new profile and log this guy in as a brand new user. Can you see? So it's like, yeah, this is a brand new user. So it's to you that you're like, no, but it's the same J Evans. Active Directory is like, no, I've got a different GUID. It's a totally different user. So that will be very important to us. in our discussion of Active Directory Backup and Restore, it identifies objects uniquely using the GUID. So the fact that the object has the same properties to you doesn't mean much. And you say, okay, what about we do this? I mean, that question could come up that, what about, since we can see, we can see everything here, properties, right? What about if we just change this GUID to this other one? What do you think? To the previous one. What do you think will happen if we try that? So we've got the whole GUID here. What about if we just change it to this one? What do you think will happen?
Mess the whole thing up.
Let's see what will happen. Let's see if it's gonna. So if I
But it
go,
won't allow.
yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not gonna allow you because this is
Yeah,
the
it's not allowing. It's
yeah,
not going to allow. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It won't allow you. So if I go double click and say, yep, okay, maybe because I've got. Let's go refresh that properties object GUID. Yep, hexadecimal go. Yeah, it's not going to allow you to change this because this is reserved for the system. Actually, some systems, I think 2003, let's go back to 2003. I think 2003 may even let you think that you could edit it. If I go 2003 and go under Hatsi edit, G Evans properties. Yeah, so this looks like I could edit it, right? Like I could delete it and put something in here. The moment you put anything in here, it's going to tell you, hey, you're not allowed to, let's change this to E and go, okay, it's going and go apply. It's going to be, no, this attribute cannot be modified because it is owned by the system. The system owns this. You can't change this. And the same thing goes for many attributes. So it's going to be like the system owns this, the system maintains this. So sorry, you can't change this. So
One quick question: is
carry
this
on.
the global unique ID? Like, let's say if the system generates one global unique ID
Yeah.
right now, you can get something. So in the lifetime of the system, is it going to repeat that global ID, global like, or is it never going to be repeated?
No. So globally unique ID is such that it's not only locally unique, it's unique worldwide. So
Okay.
think about that. So it's unique worldwide. Does that bring a question to your mind that how come you can create something that is unique worldwide? How does it do that, right?
Mm.
Because it uses a mixture of a unique value on your computer, then it uses that in a mixture with the current time when the object is created, right? And that is what it uses to generate the GUID. So what are the probabilities of maybe a device having the same MAC address and they both created an object called Taiwo with exactly the same attributes at 9:30 p.m. So the probability of that happening, that's the probability of you having a duplicate GUID. And that is really useful. You know, one of the reasons why it's really useful, it's useful in the sense of when you start doing things like you're migrating object from one directory to another. Maybe a company was bought over your company. There's like a merger and acquisition going on. GUID is one of the globally unique identifiers that you can be sure that this is unique. So globally, and you can use that. Okay, so now we've deleted this guy called J Evans. We've restored him, and basically we just realized, sorry, it's not exactly the same thing. So what we need to do now is we need to start going and start saying, if GUID has access to this resource, we need to give him access to it back again. If GUID is a member of 50 groups, we need to start putting him back into those 50 groups again. Now, can you see like what the issue is with that? Because now, because we've deleted him, we've recreated him, now we have to go back and say, okay, does he have access to this resource before? Now think of an environment where you have thousands of folders, where you have thousands of resources on the environment or in the environment. And you basically have to start going back there and giving J Evans permission to whatever he had before. And then you also have to manually add him to every group that he's a member of. So what happens? So the issue will be, how do I recover? So because that's an issue, right, guys, right? That's an issue because Someone, yeah, let's say someone within our environment is a script guy. The guy is a scripting guy. The guy is writing this wonderful script that he knows will, automate the environment. But then the script accidentally deletes, 15 OUs in our infrastructure. Do we really have the time to say, you know, Taiwo, your job for this week is to basically be going back and be recreating all these users with all their properties, and then you're finding out, does he have access to this printer? Yes, okay, let's add him. Is he in group A? Yes, let's add him. I mean, do you have the chance to be doing all that? So basically, that's not acceptable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other question would be, how do I recover the object back? So that's the first issue that faces you in Active Directory Backup and Restore. It's how do you restore an object back with its GUID? You get the point?
Yes.
So that's the number one thing that faces you. How do I recover a deleted object with its GUID? So I want to recover this object. I don't want to be going back and be adding him back to the same groups and be doing all that. Well, unfortunately, there's no easy way to do that. Well, there's an easy way to do that, but I'll get to it. I'll tell you one thing that I realized when I was studying for all this and that is that I realized the reason why old MCSE guys uh, know a lot much more than new MCSE guys. Yeah, seriously, I realized that. And one of the reasons is because many of the things that they used to do manually then, it has been automated for us now. So we really don't understand what is actually going on. But they really understood what was going on because they had to do it manually. For example, if I tell you like how many MCSEs today, like new MCSEs that haven't been introduced to Microsoft before, if I ask them, tell me about Tombstone objects. People will go Tombstone object. What in the world is Tombstone object? But if you were an MCSC in 2000 or 2003, you know what a Tombstone object is because you will have dealt with it manually. But now, it's hidden to you. You just click a button. You don't even have to worry about Tombstone or whatever. But then they had to do it manually. So the issue is, how do I recover a deleted object with its GUID? So this answer, it varies. It depends. And it depends on what? It depends on your forest functional level. So here's one way that I could do. So let's go back to our Slava 2003 machine. 2003. Yeah, there we go. Microsoft. Okay, here's one thing that we could do. One thing that we could do. Okay, let's go back. I think this guy should have logged in now. Okay, so he's logged back in. Let's see if this guy can access. Um, come on, come on. Ah, okay, there we go. Microsoft. Ah, okay. Yeah. So let's go to long win2k3 out2, and we have access now. We go under share, and it's like, yeah, sorry, you don't have any access. So that's what will happen to this guy when he comes to the office on Monday. He's going to try to access what he used to have access to with his password, and he's going to realize I have access to nothing, and we have to start adding him manually. So let's sign out of that. Okay. So how do we restore this guy back to the state that it was before? If you were to be one of the admins in 2003, 2000 days, which is our current functional level on this domain. So if I go, so we are currently on Windows Server 2003 domain functional level, and that's also our forest functional level, Windows Server 2003. If it were to be these days, there are like different methods that we can use. But before we do that, let's first of all discuss this because this one I just realized this is important. What happens to an object that is deleted in AD? So we have to answer this one first to be able to go to the next one. So what happens when an object is deleted in AD? So Taiwo, what do you think happens when an object is deleted in AD?
Uh, well, it's gone. If once it, oh, it depends. If you enable recycle bin, I
Yeah.
think it goes into the recycle bin for I think 30 days or so, or you can I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, what do you think? What happens when you delete an object in Active Directory? What happens to that object?
It depends what your settings are. It could just delete it altogether, or it could go into the Active Directory bin so you can recover it.
Hmm. Okay, let's go through this slowly. So when I go here to this domain controller and I go, let's go for K Brown this time around, and I go delete and I go, let's go no first. Before we do that, let's make some changes to K Brown. Let's give him a phone number 222 444 5555. Member of, let's add him to a lot of group. Administrators. Yep, let's add him to, backup operators. Yeah, just to test something. So we've added this guy to a lot of groups. Let's wait a few seconds for that to replicate. And then we'll delete this guy. So what happens when you delete an object in AD is that the object doesn't actually get deleted. So what happens is the first thing that happens is almost how the properties of the object are deleted. So almost all the properties of that object. Properties means attributes. Things like the telephone number, the name, the group membership, almost all of them are deleted instantly. Now that's a big problem, but we'll come back to that. So almost all the properties of the object are deleted instantly. Then number two, the object is moved to the deleted objects container. So when we again let's come back to this one. When we say almost all the properties are deleted, except a few like the GUID, the seed also, what else? I think the login name, things like the last known parent or the OU. So apart from these ones, they are left. So all the others are basically deleted. The group memberships are gone. Everything is gone. The object is moved into this container called the deleted object container.
One quick question. What
Yeah,
happened to the mailbox account for this user?
it's gone.
It's
So
gone.
the link to the mail, so the mailbox is not gone, but the link, because the mailbox is not in AD. If you're using Exchange, the mailbox is in Exchange. But
Okay.
the link to that mailbox is an object. That link is gone. So that link doesn't exist anymore. So there's no link between this guy and that mailbox anymore. So, but the mailbox will still exist on Exchange. So first thing that happens is almost, so the guy, let's go back to this guy. So when I right click K Brown and go delete, so almost all the properties that K Brown had are deleted instantly. Then K Brown, the account is moved to the deleted object container. So it's not actually physically deleted. Not actually physically deleted. So it's moved to the deleted object containers for a period of time. And that period of time is called the Tombstone lifetime. So the object is removed, moved to this deleted object container, and it's going to be in the deleted object container for this Tombstone lifetime. And this object, that's why they refer to it as a tombstone object. So when you delete an object in Active Directory, it becomes a tombstone object. A tombstone object is an object that almost all the properties have been removed. And one of the reasons for that is to avoid a situation where you have a large Active Directory database, because you keep deleting lots of users in your domain, and then you keep storing them with all their attributes for a long period of time. Your Active Directory database, there's a tendency that it could go large if your environment is one that changes rapidly. So what they've done is, okay, you're going to remove almost all the objects apart from just some little ones. Going to move it to the deleted object container for a period of time, and it's going to be in that Tombstone object container. And then what now happens is this. After the, let's just say, Tombstone lifetime, after it expires, there's a service in AD called the garbage collector service. So the garbage collector service, after the Tombstone lifetime expires, the garbage collector service will now go and physically delete the objects from the disk. So that is what happens. So after, so the object again, all the properties are removed, move to the delete object container. After the Tombstone lifetime expires, the garbage collector service will come and physically delete them. So this is one of the complications that we mentioned, that where it comes in, like in terms of if you have multiple domain controllers, multiple sites in your environment. So you have an AD, a domain controller here, you have a domain controller here. So what happens is if you delete Zoe as an account, you delete the account Zoe here, it doesn't delete it, it just moves Zoe into a container called the deleted objects container. So there's this container called deleted objects, or let's just say DO. So it just says, well, you've deleted this guy, but almost all the properties, I'll delete it, but I'll move this guy into this deleted object container. Then it's going to send this message to this guy and say to this guy, hey, this guy called Zoe, I've removed him and put him in the deleted object container. So when this one gets the message, you understand what it means. So this one is like, so it goes to, it goes to this domain controller to say, hey, what's the update that you have for me? And this one says, the update is that Zoe is now in the deleted object container. It's a Tombstone object. This one understands what that means. So you move Zoe from the normal container that Zoe is in, and also move Zoe to the deleted object container. So
Is it like a recyclable?
well, it's not yet the recycling, because recycling comes later, which we'll discuss very soon. So it moves it, so it just moves it to so it's kind of like the recycling, but then there's another one called recycling that comes in later. So it moves it to this one, and after the Tombstone lifetime expires, this Active Directory by itself will go and say, well, Tombstone lifetime has expired, I'll remove this one from disk. This one by itself will go, yeah, Tombstone lifetime expired, I'll remove this one from the disk. But then the other thing that happens is, why they didn't do it to be like a situation where you have Zoe here, and the moment you say delete Zoe, Zoe is just deleted from disk. One of the reasons why they didn't do it that way, one of the reasons why is because this other domain controller, it won't know what we'll do with Zoe. So if I go, so Zoe is there, and Zoe is there. I delete Zoe from here, and Zoe is completely gone from the disk. So this one goes and say, hey, what about the object Zoe? This one is like, I have no idea of any object Zoe. So this object Zoe here, will become something called the lingering object. In other words, an object that has no link. This one has no idea what to do with it. This one has no idea what to do with it. So that's why they designed it to be like, instead of deleting it, put it in a special folder first, and every domain controller understands what that special folder means. It means when this object has been moved to this special folder, it means the time is counting down. After the time counts down, I can physically remove it. But a situation can happen where we have Zoe's account here, and what happens is that Zoe's account is deleted and moved to the deleted object container here. But then this replication between these two domain controllers is broken. but this guy is still in this database because this guy doesn't know, move him to the deleted object container because the replication is broken. And if this replication is broken for a long time, that this guy is eventually deleted from the deleted object container, and then the replication comes back on, this object Zoe basically becomes a lingering object because it's going to be like, I have no idea where, who Zoe is there. This one is like, yeah, but there's someone called Zoe that we used to talk to one another about. He says, no, I have no idea who Zoe is. So this object here becomes a lingering object, which is one of the reasons why they do it that way. So one of the questions would be, what is the default Tombstone lifetime? To find that, it's also under hard-C-edit that you use. So use hard-C-edit to find that. So under configuration, under services, under Windows NT, under directory services. So under directory services, you see this thing here called the Tombstone lifetime attribute. And by default, on Windows Server 2003 Service Pack 1 and above, by default, is set to 180 days. That's 3 months. Sorry, is that 3 months or 6 months? That's 6 months. So before Windows Server 2003 Service Pack 1, it's set to 60 days. But now it's set to 180 days. So it stays in that container for 180 days. So the other question will be, how do I see that container? The thing is, you can't see it with the normal tools that we are provided with. So you come here, you're like, where is the deleted object container? Where exactly is it? I want to see, the K-Brown that I deleted now. I want to see K-Brown again. Where exactly is K-Brown gone? You can't find K-Brown here again. Even you go under hard-C-edit, you're like, hard-C-edit, show me where's the deleted object container? Where are you? You look for it everywhere. You won't find the deleted object container here. If you want to use the deleted object container, there's a tool that comes with Microsoft Active Directory called ldp.exe. So if I go so I have it on the support tools here. So if I go ldp.exe, and ldp.exe, it's a LDAP browser. In other words, it goes beyond, just this normal GUIs. It's browsing the AD database directly itself. So we have the LDAP viewer here. First of all, I need to connect to it. So go the username administrator, the password, the domain is Adatum, and I go okay. Yeah, so now I'm connected to this domain controller. So now I can browse into it. But before I browse into it, so there's a lot of process that has to be done. I have to go under options and go under controls. And I have to set this option to say return deleted objects. I go return deleted object, yeah. Make sure the control type is set to server, and I go okay. Then I have to go under view and say under tree, and then go let's see, adatum.com. But I don't want to browse adatum.com. I want to browse the deleted object container, which it won't show to me by default. Even when you're using ldp.exe, you have to manually browse to it. I have to manually go to cn container equals to deleted objects, and yeah, dc adatum.com. Yeah, okay. And here we go. Now we can see the deleted object container here. And if I expand this and I keep looking down well enough, I'll see my K-Brown that I deleted. Yeah, here we go. Can you see? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes,
that's the
yes.
K-Brown guy that we deleted here. So we're like, whoa, that's exciting. Now we have K-Brown here. So how do I put K-Brown back, to where K-Brown is? Because I want K-Brown back with K-Brown's GUID. Like, yeah, that is good. So that's a really long process. Now imagine you're an admin in these days. So basically, to put K-Brown back, that's a long process. I think you have to go to where do we have to go to? No, we have to modify this one. And you have to know exactly what you're modifying. You have to go modify it. and then go, which attribute do I want to modify? I want to modify the attribute is deleted. I want to delete the attribute. So because once you delete it and put it in deleted object containers, it sets the attribute is deleted on. So basically what I'm saying is that attribute is deleted. I want you to delete it. So I go enter. The other thing I want to do is I want to change the attribute that is the distinguished name, because now the distinguished name is showing, which is this one, that it's under this container. So what I want to do is I want to change this and say the new value is not deleted object. I want to put it back into the ITOU. So basically I have to manually type all this in. So I have to go OU equals to IT, DC equals to Adatom. Now I'm not going to delete this. I want to replace this one with this new value and go replace and press enter. And then select these two and then click run. And then I'll see if it's successful or not. It says I'm willing to perform. So let's see. Delete is deleted. Replace distinguished name with OU equals to IT. Okay, I made a mistake. So I have to type in the full distinguished name. So I have to type in K Brown's name. So
Wow.
yeah, so exactly. Exactly. Now, do you know why those MCSE of those days, why they are like, why they know like quite a lot of that? So K Brown's name is this one. So I have to go CN equals to K Brown and basically add him back to where he was before and go CN equals to K Brown and go enter. Let's delete this one. The other one, remove. So CN equals to K Brown and then click run. Yay, and it's successful. And then if we go back to Active Directory and then refresh this one, yeah, we have K Brown here again. But look at this, it's disabled. Oh, that's not good. Properties, member of, where's all our group membership gone? Okay, telephones, it's all gone. So do you see what we mean by when it moves it, it deletes almost all the attributes, apart from the GUID, the SID, and a few other attributes. Otherwise, it deletes almost all of them. So basically, the only thing that will happen with this is I still have to manually add K-Brown back to any group membership that K-Brown is a member of. But if I've specifically said, K-Brown, you have access to this file, K-Brown will still have access to it because it still has the same GUID. You get the point?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was what they used to do in this Windows Server 2003, those MCSE guys in those days. If they accidentally delete anything, they have to manually go through all this process. Before these guys came up with something called AD Restore. So yeah, this is internal guys. So they came up with something called AD Restore. So Microsoft bought them because they were creating such wonderful products. So they came up with this thing called AD Restore, and they were like, all this process that you have to go through, all you need to do is one command. So basically, you download AD Restore from those guys. You come here. Let's delete K Brown again. Let's go delete K Brown. Yeah, I want to delete K Brown again. And I've already installed AD Restore on this machine. And if I go AD Restore -how, okay, no, maybe not. Maybe I have to go to the original location where AD Restore is. So I think it's on my desktop. I think it's on my desktop. AD Restore. Let's go desktop. Yep, it's on my desktop. So let's go to this location. CD. Yep, AD Restore -how. And basically, it will go through all the process I went through and it start listing all the users. Say, hey Beglin, this was the guy I deleted earlier. Do you want to restore this guy? I go, no, I don't want to restore him. Says, this guy, you want to restore him? No, I don't want to restore him. What about this guy? No, I don't want to restore him. What about this one? No, I don't want to restore this one. J Evans that we deleted. Let's say, yes, I want to restore J Evans. K Brown. Yes, I want to restore K Brown. And then I go back to my domain now and refresh it. And yeah, K Brown is back. okay, J Evans could not be restored because I already restored him, already recreated him, sorry. So yeah, but K Brown is back. So that was the other tool that they were using. Or some other guys now was like, okay, this is a AD restore tool. Let's give it a GUI that we can use. So they created a GUI for it, which is this adrestore.net, and which is this one. So this one will just basically browse to, okay, maybe let's go to restore. Yeah. So basically, you install this one. It's like a GUI interface that you can go, yeah, restore that one, restore that one. But the issue with this is that you've lost all your group membership. Do you get the point? So that's the
Yeah.
issue, that you've lost all your group membership. So basically, the only way you can get your object back with all the group membership and its GUI is to restore it from backup. And to restore it from backup, I'll tell you something. To restore it from backup, you're like, we're not gonna be we're gonna have to take the system state backup and restore it from backup, but it's gonna be different. And this is why it has to be different. Remember that we were talking about this some time ago about,
Yeah.
so the issue because the main issue is if you have one single domain controller, it's easy. All you need to do is restore from backup. But if you have multiple domain controllers, because this is the reason. For replication, Active Directory uses something called USN, update sequence number. That's what it uses. So we can find that under our helldap.exe. So let's close this. So if I go and disconnect, then let me bind it again. Let me bind to it again, and let's go password. Okay. So look at this highest committed USN, update sequence number. So that is what Active Directory uses for replication. You get the point? So there's a sequence number that this domain controller has. The other domain controller has a sequence number too. So the other domain controller talks to this one and says, hey, I already have your update up to sequence number 13035. What is your sequence number now? It's like, yeah, my sequence number is now 13040. So that means 5 transactions has occurred since the last time that we replicated. You get the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like 5 transactions has occurred since the last time that we replicated. So can you please send the new updates to me? But what happens if you go and restore from backup is you basically put the system back to an old USN. You get the point?
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, oh,
Yes.
my friend, you've got some old information there. You really need to be updated. You get the point? So basically, it just goes and it's like, poof, all your restore and everything is gone. So that's why you have to do something called an authoritative restore. In other words, when you're restoring it, you can't just restore Active Directory back from backup in a multi-domain controller environment. You have problems with replication because you are putting it back to a old USN. USN must keep going forward. They should not go back. You get the point? Because once they
Mm.
go back, you're saying, I've got old, outdated information here that needs to be updated. So now you have to do an authoritative restore. And what that means is that you restore it from backup and then manually through the ntds util command line, you tell it that, hey, I want you to be the authoritative uh, source of information for this domain. And what that will do is that it will increase the USN by 100,000. You get the point?
Mm.
So that's like the whole thing. I'm not sure if Zoe and Matt, are you getting it? Zoe, are you getting it?
Yes, kind of.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, let's do something now. Let's go to this one. Let's go. Let's do the same thing we did for K Brown. Let's do it for this guy. But let's go properties. Let's add him to a lot of groups. So let's go group admin backup operators. Yep, and let's change his phone number also. 555 6777 666 999. Ah, yeah, whatever. Let's go apply. Okay. Yeah, so we've got this guy with some new information. So let's take a backup of this domain controller. Let's go backup. I want to take a backup now, and the backup that you need for Active Directory is what backup do you need?
System state.
Exactly. So you need the system state. So let's put this to what's the name of the guy that we want to delete? K degrass. And let's put this to K degrass. And let's go. Yeah, C backup, K degrass, system state. Let's go start backup. Okay. Append this backup to the media. Yeah, start backup. So let's take a system state backup of our domain controller. So in your environment, you always want to have system state backups of your domain controllers. Always.
Is
Because
this applies to the 2012 as well, or is it only for the 20? Like,
we'll get to 2012 also. Because they could also be complicated, but what they've done is that they've made things easier. So while we are taking the backup of this, let's quickly explain the issue of 2012 that you mentioned and 2008, because that's why we have a mixed one. So now we have a 2008 server on this domain. What Microsoft now did in 2008, how to, not 2008, is they came out with this feature, with this new feature called Active Directory Recycle Bin. So they came out with this called AD Recycle Bin. And basically what this feature does is this. So before in Active Directory we have we have three states of our objects. So we have this one, this one, this one. So what we had before is we have a live object, an object that is live and properly. So what happens is you take that live object, you apply an operation to it called delete. So you delete the live object and it becomes what? A tombstone object. So what is a tombstone object again, Taiwo?
And that has been stripped off of all his membership.
Exactly. So majority of all its attributes is gone. Yeah. Its name has been changed a little bit, but its GUID and SID and a few other attributes are still there. But it's going to be there for like by default if it's 2003 service pack 1 and above 180 days. And then there's another state that after that, not this one, we have a service that will apply to this. What's the name of the service called?
garbage collector.
Nice one, very nice. The garbage collector service. So garbage collector service will be like, yeah, your time is up, and then it becomes, you know, deleted, a deleted object. But what they've now done in 2008, how to, is they changed this process a little bit. So you still have your live object. So your live object is still there. You still apply your delete operation to it. But when you apply your delete operation to it, instead of this one, instead of it going to Tombstone object, it goes to a new state. This is a brand new state. It's a brand new state called deleted object, not Tombstone object next time. So it's called deleted object. Deleted object. And you know the good thing about this deleted object? Do you want to guess what the good thing is about this?
It keeps all the membership.
Exactly. Or not every single attribute remains the same. Absolutely 100% the same in deleted object. Then after the deleted object, then it goes to the same scenario as this one, which is goes to Tombstone, then goes to, you get the point, goes to Tombstone, then goes to deleted, then goes to, I've forgotten what this one is called, but then basically just get permanently deleted from the disk. Okay, so again, it's the garbage collector service that acts on it. So this new state is like the big one in 2008 how-to. But the thing is, you have to promote your forest functional level to server 2008 how-to. In other words, you won't have any domain controller that is 2003 in your environment. Every domain controller in your forest must be 2008 out2 at least. Now, how many environments do you know that still have that in the environment?
Mm, yes. No, a couple that say 2003.
Even in my because there are some old applications that we use in the office that basically they were like, I remember one day one guy walked up to my seat in the office. I was like, can you tell me what domain and forest functional level we're still on? It's like, yeah, let me have a quick look. They're like, yeah, 2003. He said, yeah, because I was seeing a project going around that they want to be doing all this upgrade. He said, if they do that, it's going to break this application that is critical to the business and all that. So because of some guys, they had to basically, try to keep 2003 in the environment. You get the point?
Yeah,
So how many people do you know that has this? But if they really do have it, it's really simple to apply. Well, it's not simple in 2008. So let's go to a 2008 server here. So this one is not part of our whole infrastructure. So the way to enable it is you use PowerShell. Basically, the simple way to do it is to do PowerShell. If you try to use LDP, it's really, really complicated. And the command to do is um, enable. The reason why I'm not focusing that much on this command is you can always find them on Google, but the main point is understanding what's going on. Enable AD optional feature. Yeah, enable AD optional feature. And the feature you want is recycle bin feature. Recycle bin feature. And then what you want is you want scope. And the scope will be one for the scope. Hey, hello, Carl. How you doing? Yeah. Can someone please help Carl with the ID and the password for the TeamViewer session? So you can just post it again in the chat window. Okay. So we have a scope. Let's say the scope is forest configuration set. And yeah, so if someone please helps to post, yeah, thanks very much. Forest or configuration set, and I think there's something else that they want.
Okay, I'll join that.
Yeah, okay. So that's the
I'm
three.
going to be turning my camera off just for a minute, but I'll still be listening. I'll bring it back in a minute, but I'll join this right now.
Yeah, no problems. So that's the ID and the password of the server, the TeamViewer ID and password of the server that we're using.
Okay.
And I think you have to, yeah, the server is, in this case, we're on contoso.com. Yeah, and then it asks you, it said, are you sure you want to enable the recycle bin feature? Go, yes, I want to enable it. Yeah, because I already enabled it, they said the specified value already exists. So it enables the Active Directory recycle bin. And what could happen is I can go, so this, remember, this is a different domain. So let's go properties. Let's do the same thing. Let's go account.
is it not possible to enable it through the GUI?
No, not in 2008 how to. So in
Uh,
2012 it is, but we'll get to that one. So we're going little by little. So because the reason why we're doing it this way is because we can't just go for 2012 version, because how many environment have 2012 forest functional level? So you get the point. So in
yeah,
2008, the way to, I mean, the only way to do it is to do ldp.exe, and that is even much more complicated than using PowerShell. So conductor.com. So let's go on this one. Yeah, so let's add this guy to lots of group administrator. Let's add him to backup operators also and go apply. And let's change some of his details. 55544332221. Okay, we've got Katie Grass updated now. So if I go and we accidentally delete Katie Grass, boom, it's gone. So all I have to do is, I think the command is restore AD objects. That's the command, is restore AD object. So unfortunately, there's still no GUI except 2012. So restore AD object. But to do that, we have to do like restore AD object. Actually, let's just get help. PowerShell, if you're stuck with PowerShell, always get help. Get help, restore AD objects, examples. Yeah. Okay, and let's see an example that will be good for us. Yeah, this one seems good. Get AD object. Let's get that. Let's let's do some editing. Um, instead of Kim Mambakumbi, let's change this to K Degrass. And I hope I have the name right. Let's see other domain controllers, just to make sure we have the right name for this guy. K Degrass. Yeah, that's right. Got K Degrass. So it's deleted. So let's get it first before we use the restore object. So basically what they're doing with this command is they're saying get this AD object, some account name, include deleted objects. Yep, there we go. So we have K Degrass. Then we just pipe that into restore AD object and enter. Yep, and that's done. Now if we go back to everything, K Degrass is back, fully enabled, and let's see properties. It's got all the attributes that we just deleted. Do you know why it's got all the attributes and everything? Members, it's got everything because it went to which state?
Deleted.
Deleted object state, not Tombstone object, because this is a new state in 2008 How2. But again, if you look at this one and you look at the functional level, what's the functional level? It has to be a minimum of this one.
Yeah, but this deleted object
Yeah.
container,
Yeah.
that's the same thing as the AD recycle bin, right?
No. Well, yeah, to an extent, but then the language is, but they are different objects. So we could call it the recycle bin, but it's like different objects still. So inside the deleted object container, there are two types of objects now. So there's the deleted objects and Tombstone objects. So
But you enabled recycle bin
yeah,
to be able to use this feature.
yeah. So basically, recycle bin is still sending them into the deleted object container, but only that it's leaving all their attributes. So it's just a state of the object.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's clear. So it's just a state of the object. So actually, the other question would be, what's the what's the amount of time that an object stays in deleted object state, right? Because I want to know which amount of time do I have before that. Again, that will be found under @cedit. So you go under @cedit, you scroll down to services, under configuration, you go to services, directory services. And if you go under properties here, and yeah, you see this one, MSDS, deleted object lifetime. But if you look at this, what does it say in front of it?
It's not set.
It says it's not set. It's not set to anything. So that may be confusing to think, whoa, does that mean the object is not going, it's just going to be there for a few seconds and it's going to disappear? So when it says it's not set, what it means is that it's going to use the same value of the Tombstone lifetime. So that means it's going to use 180 days. So basically, the object will stay in the deleted object state for 180 days, after which it will move all the attributes, almost all the attributes will be taken away. It will move to the Tombstone object state for another 180 days, after which the garbage collector service will act on it and basically it's gone. You get the point?
Yeah.
David, I've got a quick question
Sure.
about it.
Sure, go ahead, please.
For the Tombstone 180 days thing, right? Let's say if I hire you for three months contract,
Mhm.
you work with me, you done with your job, I deleted your account.
Yeah.
After 180 days, I want to hire you again, right?
Yeah.
So is it like it's like the same thing, like for 181 days, like can I increase this value, or is it like is it a fixed value?
You can
181 days?
definitely. So the same place that we went to, that's exactly where you increase. I can go Tombstone lifetime and change it to whatever I want to change it to here. But here's the thing, because you have to understand the impact. There's a benefit to keeping it, to making it longer, but then there's an impact. The impact would be if you have an environment that changes rapidly. So you have an environment where maybe you're like running a school where you have students that come in for like 3 months, and then multiple students are coming in and they're leaving and they're coming in and they're leaving, and you're constantly deleting objects, and then you increase this one to 1,800 days. Your AD database will be really large. You get the point?
Yes, but like I mean, if the database in the garbage, it shouldn't make a big deal as far as I see it.
It will be really large because what will happen is your AD will still be keeping all the object and all the attributes for all the amount of days that you specified. So if you have, so it depends on what the key point is. Do you have an environment that rapidly changes where you have new users coming in and going out and coming in and going out? And actually, just to throw this in, when we're talking about this one, just to throw this in, is that Microsoft's focus is on this. So actually, you're right when you said it should not really matter because that's actually Microsoft advice. But I'll tell you what Microsoft advice is that the focus should just not be Active Directory backup and restore. The focus should be Active Directory protection. So what does that mean by the focus should be Active Directory protection? Is that in this kind of a situation, what Microsoft actually recommends is that you don't delete objects in your Active Directory. Does anyone know that that's Microsoft's recommendation?
No.
Yeah, that's
I
Microsoft's
think it could be a
recommendation.
security issue, like somebody can exploit that deleted account user.
No, you disable it. If you disable it, if you disable it, if you disable it, basically you can't authenticate with an account that has been disabled. But Microsoft's recommendation is you don't delete AD objects. I've forgotten, but yeah, I think I was going through their best practices for Active Directory design recently, and I saw it in there. But you can look that up by yourself, where they said their recommendation is don't delete AD objects, just disable them, don't delete them, because like you said, Zoe, which was why I said you're partly right in that, is that it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, what's the site?
Because I see that as like simple pointers to it. Like if you put me into a group, right? It's just
Yeah,
a simple pointer.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. Let's say if you are in a room, you clean your stuff and you throw all the stuff in the dustbin, right?
yeah,
Doesn't matter that the stuff is in the dustbin over there.
yeah,
If I want you to get something back, you can go over there, but you shouldn't be worrying about it.
yeah. So
So, and it's not taking but like it's not
space
taking
like
huge
that.
amount of terabyte data, yeah.
Exactly. So that's like their recommendation. Like don't delete them. Then their recommendation is this: is that you actually set a deny for everyone to delete. So that's actually their recommendation. That you go to your containers, Microsoft recommendation. I'm sure you can find the document on the next recommendation is that you go to add edit, you go to like your containers, like maybe adatune.com, and you go under properties, and you go under security, and you say everyone, add everyone in here, or if everyone is in here, and go, delete child objects. Actually, you go under advanced, and you say you deny. So they advise you to put an explicit deny for every tree in your Active Directory infrastructure. So basically, I go here and I go to let's go, yeah, just anyone. Let's go edit, then delete. You say delete, so you say deny. Everyone cannot delete. Delete subtree, deny. Everyone cannot delete subtree. So that's actually Microsoft's recommendation. You know, and the reason for that is, you might not know. You might be writing like one of these scripts and the script, goes wrong and goes to start deleting all all the whole you in your infrastructure. But again, that's the other thing. As an admin, as admins, we should practice these things over and over and over again because it could be a stressful scenario. Someone comes to you and is like, all the ADs, sorry, all the whole use, in the AD are gone. As an administrator, you should already have your response, down, you know, because it could be stressful because everyone is complaining applications. Because when you have Active Directory, you integrate them with your applications. Maybe your service desk system is integrating with your Active Directory, your HR systems. So applications are not working. People are complaining. You should have your restore strategy clear in your mind that you just go boom, boom, boom. This is where I'm going. This one next, this one next, this one next. Everything is back.
So what's your best practice or as a professional? Are you taking backups every day
So
or every hour?
so that's the reason why we mentioned that this one, your focus should be on AD protection, not just backup and restore. Because if your focus is on AD protection, what you can do is this in this kind of situation. Let's go back to the topology we're using today. Is again, remember this kind of a situation. If I accidentally delete a user here, yeah, if it's a 2003, sorry, 2008 forest, forest mode, I can restore it quickly, right? But if it's a 2003, which many infrastructures are still on, 2003 forest mode, if I reanimate the Tombstone object, it really doesn't make any difference, right? Because many of the attributes are gone. So basically, I have to bring down this domain controller, right? I have to bring it back into directory service restore mode and restore the object that I want to restore. And basically, in that period of time, a full domain controller is not servicing users. It's offline, completely offline. So what could happen is, let's say in a situation like that, you detected the problem immediately. What you can do is let's do something here, guys. Let's do something quickly. Because it's better to demonstrate than to just talk. So let's go to 2003. So remember when we deleted an object, remember how quickly it replicated, right? Do you remember, Taiwo?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
quickly the replication went to. So what we'll actually do is let's go to our 2008 domain controller. Let's cancel this. 2008 domain controller. And let's use this thing called, there's a tool, the rep admin command line by Microsoft. Rep admin options. And the thing you're looking for is, first of all, let's type in our domain controller, which is long win2k8 out2. And then what we want to do is add a switch. And the switch is disable inbound replication. So let's say all of a sudden I realize someone has deleted something here. So we have K the grass here, right? On the server 2003. Does he have a lot of group membership and all that? Yeah, he's got a lot of group membership and all that. So K the grass has been deleted there. Then let's go back here and let's disable inbound replication to this one first. So basically what we've done is this machine will not be accepting any inbound replication, but it will be sending replication outbound. So what we can do is, if we delete something and we realize, oh, something is just deleted, is you look for a machine on your infrastructure, another domain controller that, and I'll explain the reason for this, that is a global catalog. Does anyone know the reason why the machine, it's advisable for it to be a global catalog? Matt, what do you think? What do you think that it's advised that the machine that you want to use for your restoration should be a global catalog server?
So it can properly replicate across the other servers.
What's the reason for that? I mean, what exactly does global catalog do that other domain controllers don't do? For
I'm not
example,
sure.
yeah, okay. What about Carl? What do you think? What do you think, Carl? Why do Microsoft recommend that you start your recovery from a domain controller that is a global catalog server? What's the reason for that?
I always thought the global catalogs basically, I mean, they have their read-write domain controllers. They also replicate all the changes to all the other domain controllers or something like that. In terms of, is that kind of right?
You're close, but it's not just to other
I
domain
know.
controllers.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Taiwo, what do you think? What's your thought on that? Why do Microsoft say, okay, if you want to do a recovery, do it from a domain controller that is a global catalog?
I think um, a global is a server that has the global catalog. I think can stand on its own. Or no, is it stand on its own?
Think about this
It gives
situation,
out
Taiwo.
replication. No, I don't. I
Taiwo,
can't.
Taiwo, no, I'll explain to you, Taiwo. I'll explain to you. Think about this situation. Let's say this machine here is a global catalog server. This one, it's a GC. This one is also a global catalog server. No, this one is a client. So let's say this one is a global catalog server. This one
Yeah.
is not a global catalog server. What global catalog server does is that it keeps information from other domains. So that's why I intentionally, but we won't get into that today. Maybe when we do a next session on this one, I'll try to book another session again. When we do a next session on this one, we can go into it much more, where we go into like details, like because I want us to go into details like what happens if a DC breaks down and things like that. But I think we'll only be able to stop at restoring deleted objects for today. But in this kind of situation, you have a child domain here, right? This child domain is different from this root domain. They are different. An administrator in this child domain cannot manage anything in this root domain. So what happens is if an administrator creates, but the thing is because the child domain, there's transitive trust between them. In other words, there's an automatic two-way trust between these two domains because this one is a child of this one. So what happens if I create a universal group on this domain? The universal group on this domain, I can add users from this domain into universal groups in this domain, right? I
Yeah.
can. You know where the information will be stored? Only on global catalogs. If a machine is not a global catalog, it won't have information about other domains that I trust. Only global catalogs will do. So basically, if I restore, the user that I deleted on this machine that is not a global catalog, it's going to restore the user, but all the membership that is on another domain, it's not going to have it. So it's not going to be restored. You get the point?
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone get the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so that's why they say, okay, a machine that is a global catalog is what you want. Okay, so back to this one that we're talking about. Okay, so we've disabled inbound replication on this one. So inbound replication is gone. So what we can now do is let's go back to server 2003 and let's delete this guy again. And let's say K the grass is deleted and go, yeah, it's deleted. So basically get the grass is now gone on this server again. And I'm like, oh, mistake, mistake, mistake. I can quickly run over to this server because the thing happens almost instantly. That's why I quickly disabled it before I did anything. Yeah, you can see it's already started. Get NC changes, DS replica sync response. It's already replicating. You can see, right? DS replica request and response is already it's already replicating between them. So what I can do is I can disable inbound replication, and basically it's not going to replicate inbound to this one. Where's this guy here? It's not going to replicate inbound to this guy here because I've disabled inbound replication. So KD grass will still be here. You get the point? So what I can now do is I can now do an authoritative replication, an authoritative push out from this domain. And this is what it means. Let's go. Remember when we mentioned replication, we said AD uses, what does AD use for replication? What things does AD use to determine what it will replicate or what replicates? If you remember, I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. USN, remember USN?
Yeah.
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 Update sequence number, right? Update sequence number. Do you remember that we mentioned
Yes,
update sequence
USN.
number? Yeah.
Yes.
For example, if I come here, jchain, and I go, let's go add cedit again. So we have jchain. Let's refresh everything here. And we go, yeah, L Bonifaz. Okay. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yes, jchain. Let's go properties. And let's go USN. You can see USN created, USN change, right? USN change for jchain is what? 16190, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
close this. Jchain properties 444. Okay, jchain. Okay, refresh. Back to edit. Refresh. Jchain properties. Can you see that this has changed, right? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So it was 16190 before, right? But now it's 17512. So that is what it's used to say, hey, something has been updated on me, right? And whenever that one comes in, that one is like, hey, okay, I'm going to push this update out to you. So what we can now do is we can push this one out by saying, using this tool, ntds util. there are some tools that you want to be familiar with. You have to practice them over and over again till you're familiar with them. NTDS, UTU, LDP.exe, ATSI, edit, replication. You want to be familiar with these tools when it comes to Active Directory restoring, anything like that. Anything Active Directory, you want to be familiar with these ones properly. So let's minimize this. So NTDS OTU, and what we can do is, if I put a question mark, is we have this thing here called authoritative restore. It says authoritatively restore the DIT database. Can you see? Authoritatively restore the DIT database. And that's where the whole thing that we were talking about. Remember that if you restore from backup, you've restored an old USN number, it's going to be wiped out. But if you do an authoritative restore, this is what will happen. If I go minimize this and I go ldap.exe, let's disconnect, let's bind it again, and let's go. Okay, look at our highest committed USN is 17517. Copy 17517, and the one for JChain, what was the one that we'll figure out for JChain now? Properties USN 17512. So okay, no problem. 17512. Okay, so let's go NTDF2 and let's go authoritative restore. Just a minute. Yeah, okay. Go authoritative restore, right? And I go enter. And then it says, okay, active instance is not set. Yes, I basically have to go activate instance NTDS. Yeah, and then go authoritative restore. Yeah, it wants me to stop all the service. So basically, I'm taking this machine offline now. Let's go quit. Let's go net 20 days. So I'm stopping all Active Directory services on this machine, basically, because I want to do an authoritative restore. I want to say, hey, this machine, I want you to be the one authoritative for this domain, because we just deleted something in another domain controller, and it's going to replicate to this guy. So we're like, oh, we've stopped inbound replication, and then we stop our Active Directory services, and let's attempt an authoritative restore. I'm not sure if anyone is getting like the reason why we're doing all this. Is it, are you getting it a little though?
Yeah, it's kind of like making sense to me.
Zoe, what about you? Is it, because Zoe is still, yeah, you don't worry.
I will have to watch it
Yeah,
again,
I
probably.
know. But the thing is that you're being introduced to the concept now. So when you
Yeah,
are reading them, yeah, you start
I
getting
got
them.
I got most of the part, like pretty much.
Yeah. What about you, Madam Carl? So,
Yeah, for me, it's just practice it really, just to keep remembering.
yeah, super. Okay, so this one, okay, we stopped that. Let's go back to our command prompt there, enter the SOT, and let's do an authoritative restore. And what we want to do is authoritative restore. We can decide to say, okay, restore objects, restore subtree. Let's go restore subtree. Subtree, authoritatively restore a subtree. Let's do this one. And let's go back to this one. Let's go to this IT subtree. Let's go to its properties. Come on. Okay, because I stopped NTDS service. Yeah.
Hey, while you're doing that, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
It might be a little off topic. Well, not really, but I found you last night or the other night on Google Plus, and I'm really interested in joining the Hangouts and studying with all you guys.
Yeah.
I'm currently studying for the 7411 exam.
Yeah.
And I remember you had said that you were doing that. You posted that a little while ago. Have you since taken or passed that, or is that what we're doing now, or
Oh,
is this?
I passed my old MCSE like is it 2 months ago now, or it's almost 2 or 3 months ago?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so you've got your MCSE now.
yeah. So the whole thing about the group is kind of like to help people that are studying for MCSE.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Because I got the 7410, but I'm on the 411 now, so all of
Yeah.
this stuff obviously will apply.
Yeah, we're actually doing the 7411 topics in the Hangout. So this one is kind of like regularly we do some off-topics Hangout like PowerShell, um, Active Directory backup and restore and stuff like that that people just request for, things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Restore.
All right. I was just wondering.
Yeah, no problem. So let's say OU, um, actually let's say CN equals to, let's go. I'm thinking, should I restore the OU or should I restore the CN? OU equals to IT, DC equals to Adatum, DC equals to com. Are you sure you want to perform an authoritative restore? Yeah, yeah, okay. So successfully updated 14 records. Yeah, okay, let's go back. Let's restart our NTDS2 again. Note that NTDS2. So let's start up and then let's see what, if anything is happening. Okay, yeah, everything started properly. Let's refresh this. Okay, cancel, refresh. Come on, come on. Let's disconnect this and rebind it again. Go, okay. Now, can you see this? 20499. So let's go copy 20499 now. And let's go to the other one that we just said. It was who did we change or who did we delete? Who did we? I think we checked JChain, right? Was it JChain that we checked?
Yeah, J-Chang was part of it, I think.
Yeah, you see, JChain is now 20488. 20499, and then this one is 20488. Then let's replicate everything out. So we've basically said to this one, you're authoritative for this OU. So if this one is going to, so if any OU comes with another information, it's going to be like, no, I'm authoritative for this OU. This is the right information. Change your change your database. You get the point? Because that's the whole point of authoritative restore. So if you do a backup and restore and you don't change this, you might be facing issues. You get the point?
Yeah.
So let's go back to this one now and go to our server 2003 machine. Where is it? It's gone off. Oh, it's not good. 2003 machine is gone off. Let's go to 2012 one. 2012. Close this. Active Directory backup and restore. Now we deleted K degrass, right? But K degrass is back. Did you notice that? We deleted him, right? In 2003 one, on 2003 one.
Yeah.
But he's back. And if we start 2003 one again, because it goes off because of evaluation and all that stuff. Evaluation expiry. But if we start him back, now basically, yeah, no problem. So basically, the guy is back. The one that we deleted, because we pushed him out back, is now back. It should be on the domain again. I'm not sure if that is clear to Taiwo. I'm not sure.
I think I'll have to watch it one more time and practice.
The whole point is, remember that if you're going to be restoring anything from backup in Haiti, you have to make sure that you have to make sure that you make it an authoritative restore if you have a
Restart,
multi-domain controller environment.
which most organizations have.
Do exactly. So you have to make sure you have, yeah, you have that. Then the other thing is one of the reasons I wasn't able to get there today was why Microsoft says don't use snapshot for your Active Directory, but we won't be able to get to that one today. Because if you use snapshot, it can actually get to a point where where your domain controller's replication is not working at all. Because you restore it back, it has the GUID of your domain controller, and it's like, yeah, this domain controller already has this information, but because you supplied it to me, so I'm not going to update you anymore. But that's another one. So let's go back to this domain controller. I'll pull it there. So remember we deleted the grass on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then let's go to Active Directory, users and computers. And the grass should be here. But we deleted him, right? But you get what we did? We basically went and said, stop inbound replication, you know, when use NTDS to make that OU the authoritative for the domain, and then you know, it's replicated out. You get the point. And
Yeah.
then the other thing is, if I go, is that what the other thing that Microsoft, and well, Microsoft doesn't recommend it actually. Microsoft doesn't recommend it at all. But there are many people doing the real world is something called a lag site, because you can actually use Active Directories, replication, and technology to safeguard yourself. So what you can do is you can delay replication to like one of these domain controllers. So you have like this domain controller put separately somewhere here. Then, this ones, you can set replication to happen instantly, but this one, replication only happens once a week. You get the point? So if something were to happen that affects this one, that takes all this one out, you can basically reinstall all this one and replicate out from this one again. So this one, you go to Active Directory site and services and set a long delay in its replication. So it only replicates once a week. It doesn't replicate outbound, it only replicates inbound, and it's only once a week. So they call it a lag site. So if you go on Google and search for something called a lag site, yeah, so you see this thing called a lag site or odd site. So basically you're building an AD replication delay so that if something does go wrong, you have one that only replicates once a week that you can quickly replicate out from. So if something all of a sudden something starts to corrupt the schema on this domain controller, you can basically quickly go to this one and say disable what we did now, disable inbound replication, make it authoritative, and push out, the update, and it's going to replace all of these ones. You get the point? So you can actually
Yeah.
use that very well for your stuff. So it's actually not that complex. If it's just one single domain controller, it's actually very simple. But if it's more than one domain controller, that's where the complexity comes in, because you have to be careful of your update sequence numbers. You have to be careful to make sure that you don't restore something on backup. Yeah, carry on. So you want to say something?
Sorry, this lag one, where you are having this update of after like 1 week.
Yeah,
So is it just part of your good practice? Like, I mean, just you are using this machine only for keeping these backups and just to
exactly.
be more efficient?
So actually, the other thing you can do is that because it brings up one of the things that you brought up earlier about security. Because the thing about security is, because this one is only replicating just once a week, right? So
But
that
is that a
means
cost-effective solution? Like, because this machine, this lag machine, is gonna cost you a lot of money, right? Like to.
maybe not. Like in these days that we have virtual machines in
Okay.
many places, so it could just be a virtual machine. But again, the reason why Microsoft doesn't recommend this as your disaster recovery is that if you put this on the same site as this one, if this one goes out, if the site goes out, your lag site is gone. You get the point. But it's actually like a good one that you can use where you have one Active Directory domain controller in your infrastructure that has delayed replication. But then the other
Okay.
thing is you have to disable the net logon service on it. Otherwise, if you disable an account here, it won't be disabled here until after 1 week. So otherwise,
Is
in
that going to
order,
be read-only domain controller as well?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And if you don't disable the net logon service on this, people can still log in using this. So you have to disable the net logon service on this. So it only
Uh,
exists in case something goes wrong with these other ones and it's replicated out. So that's what, so they call it like a lag site or odd site where you do like a delayed replication for Active Directory. Yeah. And then that way, if anything goes wrong, you can do exactly what we did now and just push out the update back to the machines.
okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's where we probably stop for today. I hope that was helpful a
Um,
little. Yeah,
no,
carry on, Taiwo.
you, I have one question.
Yeah, carry on, please.
You said something about net logon.
Yeah.
If you disable an account and but net logon service,
Hmm.
is that not the service that allows users to log on?
Exactly.
Yes. So if you disable the net logon service
Yeah.
on that hot site,
Hmm.
will you now be using the local account to log in?
And no, so okay, I see what you mean in terms of like the domain account.
Yeah.
Yes, sincerely, I've not even thought about that. So that's a really good question to research. That's a really good one to research. I've never thought about that because that's a good one. The recommendation is to disable the net logon service on this one so that people can't take advantage of that as a security hole. If you disable a user here and it won't replicate to here till after 1 week, so so the user can basically, if the user can find a way to say use this domain controller as your logon, they can still log on using this one, authenticate using this one. So I think maybe it's gonna be the local account. It could be the local account.
Okay.
Yeah, because yeah, I remember reading properly that that's like net logon uh, lag sites. Let's go lag sites. Yeah, you see Microsoft recommendation. Do not use a lag site as disaster recovery because Microsoft wants to warn you that uh, it's not because if something were to happen that has already replicated to the lag site and you don't know for a long time, you know, you are still in trouble.
David, in your
Yeah.
professional experience,
Yep.
in your professional, what is the like? Are you guys following these best practices, or are you always using the third-party solutions for managing and all the disasters recovery, and for all that?
I think there still is the best practice. I don't think any company will follow it like 100% like that. You basically just pick the ones that work for you. So you go
Okay.
through the documentation and you're like, yeah, this one works fine. This one works fine for us. Because some of the best practice where they are advising something, it doesn't make any sense for a small business, to be
Yeah, like
investing such of
what
amount.
I'm talking about, like all my friends are like whoever working in IT, they are always having these third-party companies who come down to them and wash up their shit. Basically, like if they are causing any trouble or the server is down,
Mhm.
all they're supposed to do is to like pick up the phone and call them, and they come down, and I mean, what we are trying to see is all obviously like connected to our studies and everything.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to ask is like
No,
on
no,
the
no.
on professional level,
Yeah.
is it like you guys using any third-party solutions when it comes to in professional environment, or is it
Definitely, like lots of them,
usually?
make like, for example, for monitoring, we use SolarWinds, not Microsoft monitoring. For backup, we definitely don't use Microsoft backup.
Okay.
For even virtualization, we don't use Hyper-V for now. It may change in the future. So, like, definitely, like lots of third-party products. Even I think we still buy a lot of products from Quest. Taiwan knows Quest, right? They
Yeah.
make a lot
I've
of
seen
products.
Quest. Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely buy a lot of products from Quest that simplifies migration. So they make products from Microsoft products, but they make it better than Microsoft. So a company that can afford it, we use things like that. But a company that can't afford it will basically use Microsoft one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's like basically like the main basics of Active Directory backup and restore. Just make sure that you always have your system state. Make sure you practice this thing over and over again in case like there was to be a disaster. You already have everything written down in case of what you're gonna do. You know, so that
Yes,
you're
I think
not.
this is really good thing to know, at least to be under something under your belt, really, to know like what you're dealing with rather
Yep,
than pushing buttons,
yep.
as I
And
said earlier.
and one of the reasons why I did it is because it used to be scary to me when I talk about Active Directory backup. And I'm like, whoa, it sounds scary and everything. And so I was like, yeah, it is actually not scary. Once one can understand like the concept of, you know, the USN that it uses for replication, the concept of the authoritative restore, in terms of if it has a lower USN and that you're working with, or an older one, you have to basically set it to be authoritative if you restore anything, to avoid things like replication loop.
David, are you using the GNS3 for these labs, right?
Yes, I am. I love using GNS3 for labs.
And you are connecting these all these clients with the VirtualBox, right?
with but yeah, VirtualBox, yeah, exactly. And the reason why I love it is that I can basically use real switches, real Cisco routers, and real virtual machines. So this is basically like a real environment.
And are you using the Cisco images for these, like,
Yeah,
or are they
yeah.
coming up with the?
So these are basically like real Cisco routers.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So they're
So you got
real.
the image
Yeah.
hooked up, right?
Yeah. So they're real Cisco images, real Cisco switches, real virtual machines, and it's like it's and the other thing why I like it more than things like VirtualBox is that it's good for explaining things. For example, you look at this, you're like, what's the connection between them, right?
Okay.
You're like, I can know the connection between them, but you may have no idea what the connection is. But you put it into
Yeah,
something like this.
I think I like the idea to try this WDS thing that we studied earlier.
Yeah,
I was thinking of doing it, but I don't know how to connect these virtual boxes. I might need to find some tutorials on YouTube how to connect this.
yeah, it's
These.
really simple, especially the new version of GNS3. It's super simple. Really
Oh, okay.
simple. Yeah, you just go preferences. It actually you don't need to connect it. It automatically connects. So once your virtual machines have been created, you just go new, select virtual machine, and go finish, and it will add the virtual machine there, and then you can go and drag it.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing because I'm using all those Microsoft Lab, but that's again that's everything is set up for you, and so they're too heavy,
Mm,
like
yeah,
300 GB or something when they expand.
yeah, yeah. No problems, man. Problems.
Okay.
Thanks very much for your help, Zo, for everything. So Taiwo, man. So Taiwo, if you got any questions on it, let's discuss it more. And Zo, if you got any questions on it, let's discuss it some more.
Okay.
I know it can
Yeah.
be, yeah. But I will think about it for a while. If you got any, any questions,
Think of
but at least you
yeah.
got the,
But,
but at least you got the concept of authoritative restore, right?
yes, but
Yeah,
are we? Is there still going to be part two
yeah,
of
there will
this?
be, there will be,
Okay.
yeah, there will be,
Ah,
yeah. So yeah, definitely because the other one, because this one, they were because actually I'm not sure if I can show
it's
you my
mostly
notes.
for a single domain controller and
Yeah,
stuff.
and not even just for single domain controller. It's mainly for restoring user deleted users. But what about something like if a schema were to be corrupted? What about if a domain controller that holds your Fismo role were to go down completely? You know, what about all those scenarios that could happen?
That's true.
Yeah. So those are the other scenarios that we have to look into. So it's not just Active Directory users and computers have been deleted. What if all your group policies were corrupt? So that you have to restore them from backup too, because your group policy are still Active Directory objects. So those are actually like this book. I'll show you like the book that I went to. Um, Active Directory disaster recovery pact. Mm, yeah, this book, really good book, really really good book. Although it deals more with 2003, but it's a really really good book. Because I tell you like the reason why those 2003 guys know more than us is because They had to be doing all these things manually in those days, whereas we are just right clicking, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the
because
packet is really good.
you,
Yeah,
you know when you came out with that elder browser,
yeah,
that's what we use with Novell. That's the thing that was out. So when you brought it out, but the thing is, out of all the books
yeah,
and studies I've done,
yeah,
I've never heard Microsoft use it,
yeah.
which is
But the thing is,
why.
if you go like higher, you have to use it. You can't avoid it.
Yeah, but I've never seen anywhere. It's only at my workplace I've seen them use it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think, well, that's old school.
Hmm.
That was always on my head, like, that's old school. Why do you need that? But I think now maybe I'll just,
Yeah,
I'll have to just sit down. Can I, okay, did this book explain it also, the elder browser and everything?
it mentions it. It doesn't go into details. Another book that goes into like view details about the Helder browser and everything. I've recommended it a lot of times. Zoe knows this book. You know the book I want to talk about?
And Aurelius one.
Yeah, exactly. This one. I love this book. This book explains every single thing in details, but it's a lot of reading. It could look a bit boring sometimes, but it is very good. This book. Very, very good book. Online
David,
Okay.
this
directory.
packet book, is it on the server 22 or is it an older version?
So the fifth
20?
version is on 2012 how There's an
Yeah.
older version on 2008.
No, the other one that you were showing from the packet
So,
publishing.
so this one is mainly on 2003 how
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, the concept are still exactly the same.
Okay, man. David, for the switches and routers, what are you using some configurations? Like, is there any configuration file that you can send me? Like, I can copy paste those configurations
No,
into the there.
usually I configure them myself.
Okay.
I configure everything myself because I'm a Cisco guy a little also.
So if you send me this lab file, I can use that in my GNS3. So the configuration will be there, and
If you have the
right. But I need
exact,
the Cisco images, right?
if you have the, yeah, exactly. If you have the exact same images,
Can you send me the name of the images and I will
yeah,
find them?
yeah, I can. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah, because it's
So
a really good setup, man. Thank you
yeah,
so
it is.
much.
No problems, man. No problem. Thanks very much for your help. So
Uh,
yeah, very nice now. So you guys, you rest very well. I'll fix another session where we'll go into more details and then we'll go over from there. But in the
okay.
meantime, I recommend those books and then we'll discuss some more. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you so
guys.
much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, thanks.
No problems. Yeah. Cheers, guys.